Welcome, everybody. This is the TUG webinar for Enlighten.net. I want to thank you for coming, and we're going to have Ellen Richard from Enlighten do the presentation today. Ellen, it's all yours. Take it away.
Thank you. Well, thank you, everybody, for your time today. I'm going to talk about how to get ahead of your paperwork in 2018. We all know that paper documents are hard to share, that they take up a lot of storage space, and they're oftentimes difficult to retrieve. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how our software, the Digital File Manager, can help you get ahead of all that paper, become more efficient, and help reduce costs. As we go through the software, I'll take you through the software, I'll show you how it works, and as I go through, I'll talk about some best practices, I'll do a quick workflow with you, and I'll give you some examples of how other TUG members are using your software. And as Gary said, we'll leave some time for questions at the end. Now, there are 4 ways to get documents into the Digital File Manager. Let me just move out of here. You can print into it. You can scan into it. You can...
We lost your screen. Okay, there it is. It came back again. I lost it for a second.
All right. That was odd.
I'm seeing it now, but yeah, and I'm seeing the the icons of the slides on the left, so you're not in a slideshow anymore. Although you're on the right screen. There you go. Yeah, just hit from current slide. You should be good.
Doesn't seem to be responding. I'm not
Okay,
sure.
well, I'll just continue on.
Okay. Well, there's 4 ways to get documents into the Digital File Manager. You can print into it. You can scan into it. We can capture and automatically route faxes into it, as well as emails into the software. But no matter which way the documents get in, what happens is we take them and turn them into fully searchable PDFs. We automatically index all of the text on the document, which then gives you the ability to bring back any document by any text within the document. So the key point here is there's no templates to set up. There's no searching on predefined words or phrases only. You can literally bring back any document by any text that is within the document. Now, the software is browser-based, which gives you the ability to access the documents 24/7 from anywhere. You have the ability to host it on-premise on your own network, or we could host it for you on our cloud. We do integrate with all of the Infor platforms. We have customers on A+, on fax, and SX.e is our largest group of customers that utilize our software, as well as we still have a few that are on the legacy systems, the shims. In general, our customers have found us to be more cost-effective than many of our competitors that are out there. So what I'm going to do is I will take you through the different ways to get the documents in, and we'll do some searching. So you have the ability to bring back documents by date. So you could bring back documents by a particular date, or you could do a range of dates to bring back documents that were processed on this particular range of date. You could there we go. You could bring back documents by a particular date or a range of dates and bring back all of the documents that were processed on those particular dates. You could search by text within a document. Say you're looking for a particular part number, and you want to find out the last time that you shipped a part number A1105. Click Find, and that will bring back all of the documents that are related to this particular part number. If you wanted to find out, you can do a compound search and give it a little bit more information, and say you have a customer by the name of Peterson, and you want to find out when the last time you shipped that customer that particular part number, A1105. That would narrow down your search results for you. You can search by folder. If I click on the AP Invoice folder, that will bring up all of the documents that are in my AP Invoice folder, and I can hold the Control key down and search across multiple folders, and that will bring up anything that is in those particular folders. You, on a company level, can set up groups of folders for all of the different groups within your company. So here is like all of my accounts payable folders, or here is all of the human resource folders that would contain all my HR documents. And then each individual user can set up their favorites so that the folders that they deal with the most often would appear at the top of their folder list. All of the folders and groups of folders that you see here on the left-hand side are set up by you guys, really depending upon how you want to store your documents, based on your terminology, your business processes. Some folders you would set up exclusively as a repository to hold the documents, and then others you would set up to create a workflow path based on your particular business processes. And we will go through a workflow a little bit later in the demo. So we're going to talk about printing first, which is one of the ways to get into the software. So how this works is we set up a virtual printer, which gives you the ability to virtually print directly from your ERP or any software that you have on your network. So in addition to the choice of regular papers that your employees would have, there would be a new choice to virtual print. If you're printing from a Windows system, it brings up a dialog box. But behind the scenes, you can also set up auto-identifier rules so that the software can automatically identify the document and automatically route it to the correct place that it needs to go. And if you're printing from a Unix or a Linux system, it reads the metadata to automatically put it into the correct file. So I'm going to show you a quick example of that. I'm putting in a part number here, 5203-01. Click Find, and notice that brought back a total of 10 files. These are all the different files of where this particular part number is located. This is the creation date of when it was created, the initials of who created it or put it into the system, and this is the purge date. So you have the ability to define if your report or document is permanent or if it's to be purged after a certain period of time that you specify. So you can use automated retention schedules that definitely help you specifically during an audit process. So I'm going to pull up an inventory transaction history report. And it will always show you in the top here what it is that we're searching for. We're looking for 5203-01. And it shows that it'll appear in this particular document 5 times. And notice it's highlighted in blue and green here. So, and also notice that this is a 109-page report. And the first time this part number appears is on page 64 of 109. And as I'm scrolling through, the second time the part number appears is on page 104 of 109. So I was literally able to find what I was looking for instantly without having to search through either 100 pieces of paper or 100 pages of something that I've got stored on my hard drive. In terms of whatever it is that you're virtually printing, we don't change the structure of the report at all. It would look exactly the same when it's printing into the file manager as it would if it's printing to paper. We use PCL drivers, and it handles whatever PCL code you've got embedded in your software. Now from here, you could email out if you so choose. I can click the email, and that brings up my contacts and allows me to email directly out of the software with that document as an attachment. There are additional actions that you could take. You could email multiple files through this action field here. You can merge selected documents, and you can move documents from folder to folder. And you can also limit who has the ability to be doing these things through the security. There's multiple layers of security in the software. It's a two-tiered security. Active Directory lets you in, and then there's added security at the folder level with the most basic level of security, meaning view, who can actually view the documents. And then there's additional layers of security you may want to limit who has the ability to email documents out or be moving documents or adding any information or editing any documents. Another key feature that comes into play is the subscriptions feature. And what that is that allows automated deliveries of files and automated distribution of reports with an email alert system. So the subscriptions feature is a key part of any workflow established. And when the subscriptions feature is used as part of a workflow, each subscriber or stakeholder receives an email notification of the documents that require their attention or approval. As the work is completed and documents are moved to the next step of the process, that stakeholder for that next step is automatically alerted, which helps improve both your processes and communication. What a lot of our customers will do is they'll set up like their outside sales team as subscribers to daily or weekly activity reports of things that are going on in their territory. Oftentimes it's difficult to keep those lines of communication open between what's happening with the inside team and the outside team. So they set up their outside people as subscribers. Some of our customers set up their key outside customers also as subscribers to certain folders that sends them alerts when either something is shipping or if there's an ACH amount that is pending, different things like that. In addition, if you're printing a report or you're printing a document, anybody that is a subscriber to that particular report will automatically receive that report at the same time that you're virtually printing. So it is a tremendous time saver and one that allows, many people to be viewing documents at the same time and documents to travel to multiple destinations essentially instantly. Okay, so I'm going to clear this out and I'm going to switch gears for a second and we'll talk about scanning next. And I apologize because my internet seems to be a little bit on the slow side here. But the second way to get documents into the software is through scanning. And the scanning portion of the software is great because really what it allows you to do is it kind of automates your whole scanning process. There's no labor and you don't have to name, move, or link documents of any type. You can, at any point in time, you guys are shipping out a lot of product, and at any point in time, an employee can take either a single document or a stack of documents, put them into the feeder on the scanner, press the button. Because the scanner would be networked, what would happen is a window appears that allows them to select which folder they want the documents to scan into, and then walk away. You could also use the auto identifier rules too, and let the software identify the document that will automatically scan it and route it correctly where it needs to go. What happens then is the document gets scanned, it goes through the OCR process, and then all of the text gets indexed, creating the fully searchable PDF. So the process is very quick, and it takes maybe about 15 seconds per page. So literally, by the time that your employee is walked and they're back at their desk, the first pages of the pile are already in the software. They are fully searchable, and they're ready, available. So I'm going to show you an example of that. I'm putting in a part number Heat 31. We'll click Find, and see that brought back one document. So let's open that up. Here we go. And again, it's always going to show you what you're looking for. Here's heat 31, and here it shows in the document. And because this guy is indexed, any text that's on here, you could enter in to bring back the document. So I could find this by invoice number, by McDonald's supply, by a PO number, by the shipping date, anything, because everything is indexed. The only thing that we can't index is handwriting. And the reason we can't index the handwriting is because the OCR doesn't read it properly. But if there is information that you want to add that to the document that perhaps someone has handwritten on it and you need that to be searchable later, you can do that through this edit field here. And through that edit button, what that does is that allows you to move documents from folder to folder. Again, you can limit who has the ability to be doing that. And there's user fields in here that are really defined by you guys for whatever your processes are, whatever your business processes are. You can use as many of these as you want. And anytime any information is added into any of these fields, it becomes a document property that stays with the document for the life of the document and is fully searchable. Each individual that uses the software has the ability to add their signature to the document simply by clicking this box. And you can see that I've signed it many times, through the course of the demos. And then you can enter in comments in the document. And then if this were in a workflow, multiple people could enter their comments as a document moves on down the line. And again, anytime any information is entered in here also, it becomes fully searchable. So I'm going to exit out of here. I'm going to clear this out. I'm going to type in Herb Bernard because that's the gentleman's name that we put into the user-defined field. And click Find, and that brings back that document here. And see this little circle with the eye? Whenever you see that, that tells you that somebody has added information to the document. I can open that up simply by clicking on it, and I can see any information that anybody has written about this particular document. And then here is the actual document itself that we were just looking at. Okay. I want to show you now how documents are linked together. The nice thing about the software is because all of the documents are, all of the text is indexed, it gives you the ability to bring back all of the documents that are related to a particular transaction through one single search. So notice that I'm changed to all of the folders here. I'm going to type in a PO number 119702 and click Find. And then what that does is that brings back that purchase order 119702 as well as any of the other documents that are related to this particular purchase order. So there's the purchase order. Here in the stock receipts folder is the packing list. There we go, is the packing list for that particular PO. Here's the invoice. $119,702, and then last here is the check, the accounts receivable check stub, where it was actually, the PO was actually paid for. Does seem to be slow in opening. There we go, 119702. So the nice thing about this is that you have the ability to bring back all of your documents with a single search that are related to a particular transaction. Okay. Next, for many of our customers are still doing business by fax, and within the software you have the ability to work with your existing faxes that are sent to paper or that are being received electronically. Most of them can be automatically routed through the auto identifier to where they need to go. And recipients can receive automatic alerts with the automatic delivery. So you can essentially have all your business faxes archived with full text search results. For any faxes that cannot be automatically routed, it does go into a net fax folder. You would assign a subscriber, back to the subscriptions feature again, that would get an alert alerting them that there are faxes that need to be distributed, and the faxes can be distributed with a single click of a mouse. So when the subscriber opens that net fax folder, this is essentially what they would see, that there are 6 documents in here that need to be distributed, and the first one is surrounded by a green box. These are all the destination folders of where the faxes can go. You are essentially initially saying where the faxes are allowed to go. The folders are created by department, and then this is the actual fax itself. So this guy needs to go to accounts payable, so I'm simply going to click, and that guy's been distributed to accounts payable. And now you can see that the green box has moved down, and the next fax to be distributed needs to go to Bob Johnson. And now Bob Johnson has received his fax, either as an email with a fax attached or a link directing him directly back to the fax in the digital file manager. So once we grab a hold of the fax, we are indexing all of the text on it and then automatically routing it. If it gets redistributed, it gets re-indexed and redistributed. So there's never a danger of anything getting lost. There's always a paper trail, so to speak, so that any fax can be searched at any given point in time. This guy needs to go to accounts receivable, click accounts receivable has their fax. This one, you get the idea, it goes to Mary Jones. And you know how sometimes, this one's a junk fax, you know how sometimes you get vacation offers, health insurance, restaurant menus, things like that. So that can go directly into the trash here. Okay. And that is faxes. And the last way to get documents into the software is through emails. It's very common practice now, and I'm certain that most of you guys are receiving payable invoices through the emails. Both your internal employees as well as external resources can be emailing directly into the digital file manager. And it's as simple as addressing the email with the name of the folder that you want the document to go into. So in the case of AP Invoices, it would be apinvoices@yourservername.com. Behind the scenes, there's another email address that we've given it that we're actually pulling it into the software and indexing all of the text, creating the fully searchable PDF. So I'll show you an example of that. I'm putting in a manufacturer by the name of Triton because I know that was emailed in. I click Find, and you can see that this particular document was emailed in, and here's the person's email address. So if I open that up, here's the invoice that came in with the email. Again, it will always show you. Here's Triton. Then if I click on this little text button here, that's the actual email itself that came in with the invoice. So you have the ability to have both the invoice or document as well as the corresponding email in the file manager, both fully searchable and together. And this is important because oftentimes there's pertinent information that corresponds directly back to the document that you might want to keep together. So let me exit out of here. So those are the different ways to get the documents in and some different avenues of searching. What I want to show you now is I want to take you through a quick workflow, because workflow is an important part of the software that's built in, and it really is a critical part of any efficient process. The timely flow of documents to the correct people within an organization. So you can establish a workflow for any area of the company that requires multiple people to work on a document. You can set up any process. You can make your process as simple as you want it to be, or if you have a more complicated process, you can have a more complicated process. What we encourage people to do is kind of map out their current processes, and then we can mirror it through the use of the file manager. So I've set up a very simple workflow in here based on an AP process. So you can set up really a workflow for any area of the company that requires multiple people to work on documents. Whether it's an expense approval process is a great one, or the most common, obviously, is an AP. When you're setting up your workflow process, you can define where your documents can move to, what the acceptable next step is, and who really has to take the next step. So I have 6 invoices in here in my AP invoice folder that I want to take a look at. So there we go. The first one is a Triton Industries invoice. And you can see here that in my simple workflow that I set up, I've said that my documents can only move to 3 places. My default is that everything checks out, dollar amount is right, quantity is right, and I can move that on to be paid. So that's kind of my default. The second place I said where my documents can move to is research. Something is wrong with this, the quantity is off, dollar amount is off, something is wrong here. So I will need this to be researched. You can also have different levels of research. Let's just say it's a quantity issue and you want to move that to somebody in the warehouse. Or if it's a dollar issue, you want to move that to somebody in accounting or in sales. So there's different flows that you can create in your workflow. And then the third place where I said my documents can move to is I'm assigning a dollar threshold. Anything over a certain dollar amount, $2,000, is going to require a management signature before it gets moved on to be paid. So again, you can use user fields in any workflow for any reason that you need them to be. If you need to have a GL code, a general ledger code before things moved on, you can do that. And you can add signatures and then comments, and multiple people can add their comments. So I'm going to say that this Triton Industry guy looks okay, and I'm going to move it on. I'm going to sign it, and I'm going to move that on to be paid simply by clicking this Save button here. So I now have 5 invoices in here that I'm going to look at. The next guy here is Western Papers, and let's just say this guy needs some research. And I'm going to say, please check quantity before approving. Save that. And then we'll do one more. We'll move this guy for Tate. Let's move him to research. Save that. If I now go to, let me clear out of this, and I go to AP to be paid folder, and I click find, here's the invoices that I have that are in this folder that need to be paid. I can see that there's some information here that's been added to these invoices. If I want to open that all up to look, I click more info, and I can see here's the document that I just signed at 2:30. Here's some additional information here on some additional documents here. Let me unclick this so that you can see that the document is already in here and moved. Let me clear out of here. We'll go to the research. Click find, and you can see that there's 15 documents in here that need to be researched. This is the most recent one that I just did. Please check quantity before researching. What I can also do is I know that there's 15 documents in here, and let's just say I want to find out how many of these documents in here are Tate. Let's see. I know here that 9 of these 15 documents are Tate, so I can do my research and fix anything that needs to be fixed with one simple phone call to Tate. The other thing that I want to tell you guys also is that these, depending upon who the user is, you can define the different information that you want to be searching under and to be showing in these screens based on whatever your position is. So if I'm in accounts payable, some things that I might be interested in is check numbers and date paid and due dates and things like that. So you have each user has the ability to define their own search results simply by putting in their personal preferences. Okay, so that's really kind of a very simple workflow that I wanted to take you through. And then the last thing that I want to show you is our optional module that is the Search Integrator. And what that is, I'm going to bring up a Word document in here because obviously I don't have one of your ERP systems, any of the Infor systems here. So we made up a Word document that has a bunch of different things on it: purchase orders, customers' names, tracking numbers, different things like that. And what the Search Integrator does, it allows you to be working in your SX.e or Fax or A+ or any software that you have on your network, and bring back documents instantly from the digital file manager from whatever screen that you're currently working in. So if I am in customer service and a customer calls in, they have an RGA number and they're looking for tracking information, I can go into my screen here and pull up the Search Integrator. And what I am going to do is simply hover over the tracking number, and it auto-populates my search screen for me. I click Start Search, and then it will bring back the documents for me, and I never had to leave the screen that I was currently working in. So here is that tracking number that the customer is looking for. So I had the ability to bring it back instantly through the Search Integrator, and I didn't have to put the customer on hold, or I didn't even have to leave the screen that I was currently working in. So the Search Integrator is great for customer service people. The accounts payable people generally love it also because it helps tremendously in their three-way match when they're trying to pull documents, if they're doing research. So let me pull that up again, and I can show you. I have it set so that as soon as it comes up, it's actively searching. So it is it's set in green here simply by clicking this little circle thing, and I can hover over. It will grab what I'm looking for and instantly populate the screen, and I can start my search, and then it brings back the documents. And this is the example that we were looking at a little bit earlier. Here's the purchase orders, 119702, and then the corresponding documents that go back to that PO. Okay, and that's kind of what I would like to show you guys today. I think we can open it up for questions now.
Okay. We do have one question already, but in the meantime, feel free, anybody, to type your questions into the question bank, or go ahead and raise your hand. The question we have comes from David. He said, what about documents that come in upside down or crooked?
Oh, well, the nice thing about the software is it actually, if documents are upside down, it writes it. It turns it right side up. And it actually skews, if it's crooked or skewed, it skews it to help straighten it out.
Wow, that's intelligent.
Yeah. And the other thing, too, is that as long as the text is readable, we'll be able to capture it, whether the text is skewed. We even have sometimes had the ability to read text that is on the diagonal and horizontal.
Mm-hmm. Okay. A second question came in. Does this replace Unform archiving? So, and I should mention that Unform is a competitor of Enlighten.net. So, I don't think that the two systems would work together as far as it being a replacement. I'm assuming that, you know, you have your archiving system and Unform has theirs. I don't know if there's any kind of a integration between the two systems.
Yeah, I don't really know about Unform. I don't know what their archiving system consists of. So I'm not really certain how to answer that question. You know, what I will tell you is that we do have the ability to integrate with really any other software that is Windows, Unix, Linux, or AS400 based.
Okay. Very good. Another question. When viewing the AP invoice, can you open another window to view the vendor packing list and or the ERPPO?
Yes, you can. And generally what happens is most of our customers actually have two screens, and you can open another window and then you can view them side by side. Any other questions? Hello?
Oh, I'm sorry. I had muted myself. I didn't mean to do that. There is another question here.
Sure.
If we loaded something data-centric or date-centric, like a contract document, could there be a workflow to automatically notify interested parties of an upcoming expiration date within a specific amount of time?
Okay, so you're talking about like an alert system to, can you read that question for me one more time?
If we loaded something date-centric, like a contract, could there be a workflow to automatically notify interested parties of an upcoming expiration date within a specified amount of time? So, you know, if a contract is expiring at the end of the month,
yes.
Is there any kind of a workflow that you could set up that would automatically recognize that and send a notice out to all parties a week beforehand?
Yes, there is.
Okay. All right. There's a question here from Rua asking about, can you let us know where we can find the record again? I'm not sure what the context of the question is unless you do.
Let us know to find the record again. Can you say the question one more time?
Let us know where we can find the record again.
I guess I'm not understanding the question.
And yeah, perhaps, I don't either. So Rua, if you can raise your hand, I can unmute you, and then maybe you can talk to her. And in the meantime, here's another question. How does your pricing model work? Is it per license? And if not, then how? Yeah,
the pricing model is, it kind of depends on a couple of things. We have blocks of users, and there's a couple of variables, whether you want the optional module, the search integrator or not, whether you want the cloud or not, and the number of users. So, you know, if you want to connect with me after the webinar, and, you know, I can definitely give some individual pricing for your company.
Okay, thank you. And to anybody that's interested, Ellen's information is here. You can always email me too, and I can pass it along. So Rua came back in and said he meant the recorded webinar, not the record. So I don't see any other questions here. So I'm going to very quickly take the screen back. I'll show people how they can do that.
Okay.
Okay, so here's my screen. Can you see it, Ellen?
I can, yes.
Okay, here's the URL. It's theusergroup.org. If you go there, there is a webinars tab at the top. If you click on that, you'll see our upcoming webinars, And then if you scroll farther down, you'll see all of our recorded webinars. So it's as easy as that. My screen's taking a while to repaint here, but it will come up eventually. So, okay, and Ellen, I don't see any other questions. So I think we're in good shape.
All right, well, thank you, everyone, for your time today. And
yes,
I look forward to seeing everybody at TUG next month.
Absolutely. I forgot to mention, Enlighten will be a sponsor at the TUG conference, so you can meet with them face-to-face. Okay, so do we. All right, thanks, everybody, and have a great day. All right, bye.
Bye-bye now.